My dear beloved soul, if you are in the midst of the storm, trembling under the weight of burden and trial, know this: you are not alone. Struggle is no stranger to those destined for greatness. It visits like an uninvited guest and dares to make itself at home in the quiet corners of our lives. But don't you dare let it take up permanent residence. For even in the midnight hour of your sorrow, God is awake. He sees, he knows. He is not deaf to your cries nor blind to your tears. The struggle may stretch you, but it shall not break you. It may bruise, but it shall not destroy. You see, there is a quiet power in those who survive, a sacred resilience that cannot be taught in schools or learned from books. It is born in the valley, forged in the fire, nurtured in the silence. And when your knees buckle beneath the weight of it all, when the night is too long and the pain too sharp, that is when God steps in. Not always with what you want, but always with what you need. He gives strength to the weary and courage to the broken-hearted. He supplies manna for the moment, grace for the journey, peace in the middle of panic, a whisper in the dark that says, "You're not done yet." Do not mistake the silence of heaven for the absence of God. He is working, weaving, watching. There is purpose in the pressure. There is destiny in the discomfort. You may not see the full picture, but oh, honey, you are part of a masterpiece. And like the oak that grows strong through the storm, so shall you rise. Not because of your own might, but because God has already equipped you. He has already spoken over you, breathed into you, and anchored you in his promise. Lift up your head, child. The same God who carried you through yesterday is the one who will carry you through today. And tomorrow? Oh, tomorrow will bow in the presence of your perseverance. You were made to endure. You were crafted to rise. And God, yes, God himself, will give you what you need to make it through the struggle. Hold on. And quietly, like the hush before a storm, and it hollers loud when it's found a home in your spirit. And yet, my dear heart, even in the loneliest hour, you are not alone. Though it may feel as if the world has gone silent and the heavens have closed their doors, know this to be true. God has not left you. Not for a moment, not for a second, not even when you doubted him, not even when you cried yourself to sleep, wondering if your prayers had slipped through the cracks of the universe. Even then, he was there, present in your pain, whispering to your weary soul, "I am with you." Struggle is a common language among the living. It does not discriminate. It visits the rich and the poor, the young and the old, the holy and the broken alike. It is one of life's great equalizers. But in your valley of pain, in that place where your voice has grown hoarse from calling out, and your spirit has grown tired of hoping, I want you to remember that even the valley is under God's watchful eye. The shadow may fall, but the light is still near. You are held in a divine embrace that no man can sever. God walks beside you, steps in sync with your sorrow, cradling your fears with the tenderness of a mother and the strength of a lion. Oh, my child, do not be fooled by the silence of your surroundings. God does some of his best work in the quiet. He is not in the noise. He is not always in the thunder or the fire. Sometimes he is in the still, small voice that says, "Keep going." But the truth, oh, the beautiful truth, is that you are surrounded by a great cloud of witnesses, souls who have struggled, saints who have wept, prophets who have doubted, and yet all of them made it through, not by their own strength, but because God was with them. And that same God, the one who made water stand still and raised dry bones to life, he is with you now. Your struggle may be great, but your God is greater still. Your tears may fall like rivers, but he bottles every single one. He does not waste your weeping. He does not overlook your sighs. The very things you think disqualify you, the brokenness, the weariness, the fear, those are the things that bring you closer to his heart. God is not drawn to perfection. He is drawn to surrender. And when you reach the end of your own strength, that is where his power begins to rise within you. He does not leave you empty. He fills the cracks in your spirit with his peace. He meets your confusion with clarity, your sorrow with comfort, your weakness with divine strength. You may be surrounded by people who do not see you. He sees you completely. Not just the mask you wear for the world, but the aching soul behind the smile. He sees the nights you lie awake, the mornings you dread, the prayers you're too tired to pray out loud. And he answers, not always with words, but with presence. He wraps you in love that you did not earn, but are freely given. He shelters you beneath the shadow of his wings and declares, "You are mine, and I will not let you go." So don't you dare believe that you are forgotten. Don't you dare believe that you are forsaken. Because even in the middle of the battlefield, you are surrounded by mercy, by grace, by angels that encamp around you, and by a God who has promised never to leave you nor forsake you. That is not poetry, my dear. That is his promise. That is truth. And truth, when it takes root in the soul, becomes a wellspring of courage. So walk on. Limp if you must. Crawl if you have to. But never forget, you are not walking alone. God is with you. In every struggle, in every step, in every breath. And because he is with you, you will make it through. You will not just survive. You will emerge stronger, wiser, and full of grace. You are not alone. And you never were. There comes a time, somewhere between heartbreak and hope, where you learn that God is not a genie in a lamp, nor a vending machine that dispenses blessings on command. No, my dear, God is a wise Father. And like any good father, he doesn't always give us what we want. He gives us what we need. What a lesson that is to learn. And oh, how the heart resists it at first. We cry out for rescue, for relief, for results. And sometimes we are met with silence. But that silence is not neglect. That quiet is often the sound of God working behind the curtain, placing the right bricks in the right place to build what your spirit needs to grow, not what your flesh wants to see. You see, desire is a loud voice. It wants comfort, ease, luxury, applause. But need is quiet. Need is sacred. Need is eternal. Need teaches us discipline, grace, character, and faith. That's why the Lord doesn't always give us the easy road. He gives us the right road. He gives us what will mold us, not what will spoil us. And when we stand knee-deep in sorrow, hands trembling, soul weary, asking why, we must begin to change the question. Instead of asking, "Why didn't you give me what I asked for?" begin to ask, "Lord, what are you giving me through this?" Because God's gifts don't always come wrapped in joy. Sometimes they are wrapped in fire, but fire, when it has passed, leaves behind gold. Oh, child, I know what it is to plead with God, to beg with tears in your eyes and hope in your voice for him to open a door, restore a love, heal a wound. And I know what it is to be told no. That no may not come in thunder, but it comes. And it stings, it confuses. But if you listen with your spirit, not your ears, you will find that no is often a deeper yes. A yes to protection, a yes to preparation, a yes to something higher than you had the strength to ask for. because God is not moved by momentary discomfort. He is moved by eternal destiny. And sometimes the very thing we think we cannot live without is the thing he removes to make room for what we truly need to live. It is not that God withholds good things from us. No. It is that he knows when we're not ready to carry them. And in his mercy, he gives us what strengthens, not what weakens. He gives us manna, not cake. He gives us water from the rock, not wine from the cellar, because he knows what the journey requires. And though we may not understand it in the moment, there will come a time when we look back, eyes full of wisdom, and whisper, "Thank you, Lord, for not giving me what I wanted." There's a certain beauty in unmet desires, a certain grace in delayed blessings, because in that space between the asking and the receiving, your faith is born. Your soul grows. You stop looking for quick miracles and begin to look for lasting truth. You learn to say, even if he doesn't, he is still good. And that, my love, is the moment when heaven leans in, because God's greatest gifts are not things. They are truths. They are inner riches. They are the kind of treasures that thieves cannot steal and moths cannot decay. Patience, wisdom, endurance, gratitude. Those are the jewels he places in the hands of those who wait. Oh, it may not feel like enough. You may cry out and say, "Lord, this isn't what I asked for." But he replies, "It's exactly what you need." When you asked for a lighter load, he gave you stronger shoulders. When you prayed for peace, he sent you into battle so you could learn how to carry peace within. When you cried for companionship, he drew you closer to himself, so you'd never again confuse presence with proximity. What a tender and holy teacher he is. What a magnificent sculptor, chiseling away our pride, our impatience, our shallow wants, until we reflect the shape of something eternal. Let it be known, my dear, that God is not stingy with his love. He is generous beyond measure, but his generosity is not reckless. It is rooted in divine wisdom. He does not give us everything we want because he knows that some things would destroy us before they blessed us. And so, in his mercy, he gives sparingly in comfort and richly in character. He teaches us to hunger for righteousness, to thirst for truth, and to feast on faith. So the next time you kneel in prayer, don't just bring your list. Bring your heart. Open your hands and say, "Lord, give me what I need." And then trust that he will. It may not arrive in the way you hoped, but it will arrive right on time. Because our God is never early, never late, always exact, always intentional. And when you finally rise from your knees, when the storm passes and the dust settles, you will look around at the ashes and see beauty. You will see that he gave you enough, not too little, not too much, just enough to carry you through, just enough to keep you humble, just enough to remind you that you are loved, you are chosen, and you are never forgotten. Struggle is not a curse, my dear. It is a call, a divine invitation to rise higher than you've ever been, to dig deeper than you ever thought you could. It does not come to destroy you, it comes to reveal you. And though the fire is hot and the winds are fierce, there is something sacred in the pressing, something holy in the breaking. The very thing you thought would ruin you, that would crack your spirit into pieces, is the thing God uses to strengthen your foundation. You see, a seed must be buried before it can bloom. A pearl is formed through irritation. Diamonds come from pressure. In the soul, The soul becomes golden in the furnace of struggle. There is no shortcut to wisdom. There is no detour around pain. Every saint you've ever admired, every strong woman or man you've ever known, they didn't arrive at strength by gliding on ease. No, child, they walked through fire. They were bent but not broken. They were tossed by waves but found their rhythm in the storm. Struggle, in its purest form, is not your enemy. It is your teacher. It doesn't just teach you about yourself. It teaches you about God, about grace, about the power you never knew was buried inside your bones. When life puts you in the crucible, it's easy to ask, why me? But the better question, the richer question, the one soaked in maturity and faith is this: what is this struggle trying to show me? What truth is hiding in this pain? Because pain, as unwanted as it may be, speaks. It carves. It shapes. It strips you of illusion and pride. It takes what is not real and burns it away until only what is eternal remains. That's what struggle does. It uncovers the treasure in you. It tests your roots. It asks, are you planted in the shallow soil of convenience or in the deep earth of conviction? Don't be afraid of the valley, for it is in the valley that we learn to pray with our whole chest. It is there that we learn to listen for God's whisper instead of chasing after the world's noise. On the mountain, we dance, but in the valley we grow, and growth, real and lasting growth, comes at a cost. It will ask you to let go of who you thought you were in order to become who you were born to be. The butterfly must struggle in the cocoon to earn her wings, and so must you. I have known struggle, not as a guest, but as a longtime companion. I have dined with disappointment and made beds in the house of grief, but I am still here, and I tell you from the marrow of my being that I would not trade those nights of weeping for anything soft or easy, because in the fire I met the God who does not abandon. I met the strength that does not come from flesh, but from faith. And that strength, once discovered, is a lifelong companion. It does not brag, it does not boast, but it steadies your steps when the ground shifts beneath you. There is a sacredness in survival, a holiness in endurance. And you look back and see that you are still standing, not because the winds didn't blow, but because God held you up in the middle of the hurricane. There is a glory in that. Not the kind of glory that shines in gold and applause, but the kind that lives in the quiet of your chest, the kind that lets you hold someone else's hand in their storm and say, you will make it because I did. And if God did it for me, surely he will do it for you. You are being built brick by brick, test by test, tear by tear. And the structure that is rising in you is not flimsy. It is not made of comfort. It is made of courage. It is made of knowing deeply and surely that nothing formed against you shall prosper. Not because the weapons won't form, but because the God who formed you is greater still. You've been cast into the furnace, but like the 3 Hebrew boys, you are not alone. There is another in the fire with you. And when you come out, you will not even smell like smoke. So let the winds blow. Let the rains fall. Let the night stretch long. Because when morning comes, and it will come, you will rise with a strength not learned in books, not taught in classrooms, but earned in the trenches of struggle. And you will know, how you will know, that resilience is not just surviving the storm. It is dancing in the rain. It is lifting your head even when the clouds hang low. It is walking with grace, though your feet are tired, and the road is long. What you are building through this pain is not temporary. It is eternal. It is sacred. And it will bless not only you, but everyone who watches you walk with your head high and your spirit whole. For the struggle is not the end of your story. It is the birthplace of your strength. And when you rise from this, you will carry not just scars, but stars. Shining proof that you made it through and did not lose your light. There will come a day, and maybe that day is today, when you'll feel your strength slip through your fingers like sand, when your body is too tired to rise, and your heart too weary to hope, when every step forward feels like a mile, and even breathing seems like a task. It is in that hour, beloved, that strength, physical, emotional, mental, will no longer serve you. But faith, oh, faith will be your fuel. Faith will whisper to your tired bones, keep going. Faith will carry your spirit when your flesh cannot. Faith will be the wind beneath your broken wings, the gentle voice in the midnight hour, the unseen hand that lifts your chin when it falls too low. You see, strength is a wonderful thing, but it is human. It fades, it tires, it fails. Faith, on the other hand, is divine. Faith is eternal. It does not come from the gym, or the mirror, or the bank. It comes from heaven's throne. It is a flame lit by God's own breath. And that flame, though small, can light up the darkest valley. It is faith that keeps you walking when everything says stop. It is faith that lets you sing through tears and dance while limping. And oh, how sweet that faith becomes when it is all you have left. I've seen the mighty fall. I've seen the loud silenced. But I've also seen the quiet soul, the trembling soul, the overlooked soul walk through fire and not be burned. Not because they were strong, but because they were faithful. Because they leaned on a God who does not sleep or slumber, who does not tire or tremble. And when your faith is in him, you may shake, but you will not shatter. You may bend, but you will not break. Because faith isn't about having all the answers. It's about trusting the one who does. There will be days you won't be able to pray with words. The grief will be too thick, the pain too sharp. But even in silence, faith speaks. Even in weakness, faith stands. Even in your trembling, faith holds on. You may not shout it from the rooftops, but in the quiet of your soul, your belief will echo. And say, I don't know how, I don't know when, but I know my God is still with me, and that child is enough. That is more than enough. Some folks wait to believe until the evidence is laid out, until the blessing is in hand. But real faith, true faith, is forged in the absence of proof. It is choosing to trust before the miracle, not after. It is dancing in the rain when the forecast still shows storms. It is saying amen even while the door is still closed. That kind of faith, the deep kind, the kind that roots itself in the soil of God's promises, will feed you when you're starving for hope. It will clothe you in courage when fear comes knocking. It will cover your mind when doubt tries to take hold. Don't you see, God never asks us to be strong on our own. He asks us to believe. He didn't say the righteous would live by strength. He said they would live by faith. That's the currency of the kingdom. That's the language of heaven. Faith is what pleases God, not perfection. Faith is what moves mountains, not muscles. And when you believe, truly believe, you begin to see that even your weakest moment is pregnant with power, because God steps in where you fall short. He is not impressed by your strength, beloved. He is moved by your trust. Now, people will try to understand you. They'll ask how you keep smiling, how you keep showing up, how you haven't lost your mind. They won't know that your smile is stitched together with scriptures, that your peace is patched together with promises, that every morning you rise not by will but by faith. It's not because the pain is gone. It's because your hope is greater. It's because even when your body's bowed low, your spirit looks up. That's what faith does. It lifts the eyes of the soul above the circumstance, above the storm, straight toward heaven. And hear me now, because this is truth. The devil can take your job, your health, your friends, but he cannot take your faith. That belongs to God. And as long as you have that spark, that flicker, that holy ember burning in your chest, you are never defeated. You are never alone. You are never without power. You can go further than you ever dreamed, even if you're crawling. Because faith is not about how fast you move. It's about what keeps you moving. So when your knees are shaking and your hands are tired, when your tears fall like rain and your words have run dry, hold on to faith, clutch it like a lifeline, breathe it in like air. Let it be your food and your shelter. Let it be your lullaby at night and your anthem in the morning. Because faith, my dear, is not weak. It is not foolish. It is the most powerful force you possess. It is heaven's thread stitched through the fabric of your soul. And when strength fails, and it will, faith will rise. Faith will carry. Faith will conquer. And by faith, you will make it through. Just because you can't see the blessing doesn't mean it's not on the way. Too many times we confuse silence with absence. We think if God isn't speaking, then he must not be working. But a master artist doesn't always talk while they're painting. A skilled sculptor doesn't explain every stroke as they carve. Sometimes the quiet is not a sign of God's distance. It's a sign of his divine focus. He's building something for you. He's preparing something beautiful, something that fits your soul just right. And when it comes, you'll understand why the wait was long and the nights were heavy. You'll see that he was not punishing you, but positioning you. You must understand that God works in seasons. A seed doesn't bloom in the winter. But don't let the cold fool you. The seed is still alive. Underground, in the dark and unseen, life is unfolding. Roots are growing. Foundations are forming. That's what your breakthrough looks like right now. Quiet, hidden, but alive. You don't have to feel it to believe it. You don't have to see it to know it. You just have to trust that what you prayed for is already in the hands of the one who answers in his time, not ours. Don't be discouraged by delay. Delays are not denials. Some blessings need time to mature, just like fruit on the vine. If it comes too early, it's not ready. If you receive it too soon, you might not be ready. And God loves you too much to give you something that could harm you. So while you're waiting, he's preparing not just the blessing, but preparing you to receive it. Your heart, your mind, your character, they're all being refined. The ways that are wilderness is shaping you. The silence is teaching you. Truth and let it rest deep in your bones. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. Some breakthroughs arrive slowly, not because they are lost, but because they are layered. Like a sunrise unfolding moment by moment, bringing light to places that were once drenched in shadow. And you, precious one, are standing on the edge of that light. Keep your eyes open. Keep your faith lifted. Because in the blink of an eye, what seemed impossible will become your reality. What you only imagined will become the ground you walk on. God is not pacing the floor wondering how to help you. He already has a plan. In fact, the breakthrough was written into your story long before you felt the burden, long before you cried out. He had the answer on its way. And even now, angels are moving, Doors are unlocking. Chains are breaking. You may not see it, but heaven is orchestrating a miracle that bears your name. So hold on. Keep standing. Keep believing. Don't let what you see distract you from what God is doing. Behind the scenes, you've come too far to give up now. You've cried too many nights. You've endured too many storms. And none of it will be in vain. Every sacrifice, every moment you chose faith over fear, every time you got up after falling, it all counts. It's all part of the process. And the beauty of it is, when your breakthrough comes, and it will come, you'll be able to look back and see how every closed door was protection, how every detour